Welcome back to the Baldwin Live podcast, where we talk all things NBA basketball. We had a great slate of games last night. Before we even get into it, how are you guys doing today? How do you guys enjoy last night's games?
Pretty bad.
I feel like I'm a Clippers fan, but I'm also a Raptors fan, so it's like up and down for me. The Raptors game was really exciting to watch.
I can tell you last night I had a great night sleep. I had a great night's sleep. Yes.
I'm a Lakers fan and I'm a Raptors fan, so it was a win-win for me. Even though I had picked the Clippers prior, I got to see the real truth about the Clippers.
All right. Now let's move into what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about we're having some of these games and some other news around the league. But we'll start off with these games, and we're going to play a game while talking about these games from last night called Guess the Stat Line. I'm going to give these guys a stat line and three options for three players who could have potentially had this stat line, and these guys are going to have to guess who had the stat line. So we're going to start off 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. The options are Lonzo Ball, Bam. Adebayo, and Gordon Hayward. 20 points,
it's definitely Bam.
9 rebounds. It is not Bam.
It's
Gordon
Lonzo.
Hayward.
It is Lonzo Ball. Tejas gets 1 point.
How the hell did Lonzo get like 10? You said 8 rebounds?
Okay, Lonzo yesterday. Okay, I guess David, you can start first on the Pelicans Pacers game. I guess.
I was gonna say something about the guess. I'm pretty sure
we'll talk about the New Orleans Pelicans right now because the Pelicans game.
Actually, something about the guess. Bam also had a really similar stat line to that. I think. Yeah, he had 21, 4, and 3. It wasn't far off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this game, the Pelicans game, it was a close ass game. So Sabonis decided to not show up. He had like 8 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, like terrible efficiency. So I think if he showed up, they definitely would have won the game. But I think Brandon Ingram showed that he's a very versatile player. He could pass the ball. He could score from anywhere on the court. And I think Lonzo also showed that he still has some potential in him to be a great player in this league. So I think that the Pelicans are a great young core, and I think that they can actually like do something in the next few years, make the playoffs or something. But as of right now, I think that this was a good win for them.
As I just want to say, this game was a thriller. I didn't watch primarily the middle end, but I do know the Pacers actually made a huge run with their bench. Aaron Holiday, Justin Holiday got going, and they made a comeback. But it was Lonzo Ball's stop on Miles Turner that won them this game. Lonzo's been playing really well these past few weeks, especially since his name has been popping up on the trade rumors. He's been playing really well, and people really don't give credit to him, but he has been playing extraordinarily well this past few weeks. Brandon Ingram too. Zion, eclipsed 1,000 career points yesterday in 44 games, which is a crazy stat. Good win for the Pelicans. The Pacers need to get back on track, man. Sabonis put up a triple single. Like you don't expect that from Domantas Sabonis at all. But good game otherwise. Other than that, I feel like the Pelicans can pick it up. They just have to gain chemistry, man. Once they get chemistry, I feel like this team can try and make it to the play-in tournament. It's going to be tough, though, but we'll see.
So, if I were the Patriots, I wouldn't be too worried because the Pelicans made over 50% of their threes, which usually doesn't happen, especially for a team that isn't good at shooting threes. I think they're the worst team in 3-point percentage, but I'm not sure. They're at the bottom. So they're a bad 3-point shooting team, and they scored 52%. So you're not going to lose games like this. If Sabonis had 2 more points, they would have won the game. So I still wouldn't be worried. The Pelicans still don't really impress me because I thought they would do a lot better than they are doing. I don't think they fit well together. I think they need to move on. I don't think Steven Adams, he's a really hustle player. He's a good player. But I don't think he fits with Zion. And Zion's supposed to be your main guy. And you want to play Lonzo as much as you can, and Bledsoe kind of takes up some of his spacing. Their spacing just isn't good, and they have JJ Redick. They have good shooters, but they don't have a good shooting team, so I don't really understand. I didn't really watch this game, so that's all I have to say.
So I'm gonna spend a bit longer on this game because the Pelicans are one of my favorite teams to watch. Like I just love a lot of like the personnel on their team. Um, if I'm the Pacers, like Darian said, I wouldn't be too worried. Not only because the Pelicans shot 52% from three or whatever. Um, Sabonis only gave you 8 points, and Brogdon only gave you 13, who are your two best players right now. By one game, 1 point. So I mean Sabonis to pick it up. He will because he's an all-star caliber player. And so is Brogdon. But with the Pelicans side, I just don't know. Like I just don't think Stan Van Gundy's the right man. And I know they won this game, but like he's just a bit too old school for me. Like he's a very old school coach, and I don't think he fits in this day and age. Like there's no reason for me why Eric Bledsoe and Lonzo Ball should be starting together when you have JJ Redick on the bench. He should be starting at the shooting guard position, and Eric Bledsoe should be the sixth man, the lead guard off the bench because they don't really have that. I think they're forcing Nickeil Alexander-Walker to play point guard when he's not a point guard. He was never a point guard at Kentucky. He's not a point guard in the NBA. They drafted a point guard and they're not playing him at 11, Kyra Lewis, which was also head scratching to me because you traded Drew Holiday for 2 point guards. I know they traded away George Hill, but Kyra Lewis is not getting any minutes right now. So I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know like how sustainable this can be. Brandon Ingram had to give you 37 and 6 for you to win against the Pacers, who by 1 point, who didn't play well whatsoever. Like Sabonis and Brogdon didn't play well whatsoever. So I'm still not sold on Stan Van Gundy as a coach, and I still think that their starting lineup. Like if you look at their team, Lonzo, Bledsoe, Zion, Ingram, and Adams, like that makes sense as to why they're one of I think the worst 3-point shooting team in the league. So as long as JJ Redick's not in that starting lineup, I think they're going to struggle. But moving on to the next stat line: 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. 1 assist. Sorry. We have Joe Ingles, we have Chris Middleton, and we have Patrick Williams.
Chris Middleton.
Patrick Williams.
Joe Ingles.
Chris Middleton. We all said different answers.
It is Patrick Williams, Tejas with 2 points.
You know how I know it was Patrick Williams? Because yesterday I was watching KOT4Q's called game yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Patrick Williams for like a brief second about how he had 20 points. And I remember yesterday seeing a stat line. Dude had a nice game yesterday. They made a late comeback, which wasn't enough. But go ahead.
Yeah, Middleton sucks.
There wasn't much about this game. It was just like I was gonna say, Vucevic going off. Like he was just like a powerhouse. He had I think like 45 points. Like he was just crazy. And Patrick Williams showed that he could be a good player. Yeah, 43 and 19. Vucevic played amazing. Zach LaVine did what he does: 26 points, 8 assists. And then Patrick Williams just came out and gave them 20. Still lost because of how unstoppable Vucevic looked that game. He was 40% from 3 on 10 attempts. So, yeah.
I do want to talk about the Magic for a second. They needed this win big time. Vucevic came out and played. And there's a specific reason why they won this, because the Bulls don't have Wendell Carter right now, and that's their primary rim protector, and they don't really have Daniel Gafford coming in. He's in a sophomore slump. So they have basically Thaddeus Young playing the center, and he's not a rim protector. So Vucevic was bound to eat yesterday, and he did. 43 and 19 is very impressive, and they needed this win big time. The Magic are going to have any chance of making it into the play-in tournament. They're going to need Vucevic to just pop off and just hold ship until Aaron Gordon comes back, which they need big time. So we'll just see how it goes for the Magic.
The Magic won't make the top 10 in the East, but I think they would have if they didn't get destroyed by injuries. Like their team is pretty like Fultz, Gordon, and Isaac were still healthy. I know Isaac. I don't know when he's coming back, but he had a really bad injury in the bubble. But Cole Anthony's playing really good. He had 17, 9, and 4 last night, and Evan Fournier can score. Terrence Ross had a bad game, but we know he can score. And then the rest of their bench actually sucks. But they had played 5 guys yesterday that are good, like they can play starter minutes, or they're like starter caliber players, and they had 3 guys that are injured that are all like above average players. I think they would have been a top 10 seed for sure. But I don't think that's going to happen now. Vucevic is a beast. I think he's an all-star. We did an all-star video. I had him there. He's super good. The Bulls just suck at basketball, and I think Lauri Markkanen got injured again. So that's not good. I know they're missing Otto Porter and Wendell Carter, but they're still not a good team. I think it's just a matter of time before Zach LaVine requests a trade and he gets out of Chicago. But yeah, that's all I have to say about these 2 teams.
I mean, this game was just basically the Nikola Vucevic show. Like he kind of just dominated. The Bulls didn't really have anyone that could even hold his own against him besides Daniel Gafford and Thad Young. And if those are your 2 best centers, then you're gonna get destroyed by any competent center. Vucevic, props to him. He had a great game. The Bulls shot an ice cold 30% from 3, which really affected them as well. And I mean, they just have to knock their shots down because they made a late run. They were in position to win this game. They just missed a lot of open 3-point shots. As far as the Magic are concerned, they just have to keep doing this, grinding out results until their team gets healthy with Aaron Gordon coming back. Mo Bamba, I don't. He played like a week ago. I don't know what happened to him. Is he just not getting minutes? Because Kem Birch seems to be their backup center now, with Mo Bamba just getting DNPs all the time. So. And Vucevic is a guy that, could be on the trade block, according to someone on this podcast, but we'll talk about that later. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this game as well. Let's move on to the third stat line. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. The options are Al Horford, Drummond, and DeAndre Ayton.
It's definitely not Ayton.
Al Horford.
I'm probably gonna say Drummond. I'm gonna go.
Hey, what's your guess?
I said Aiden.
I'm pretty sure Aiden
No,
didn't play.
definitely not Ayton. He did play, but he had like
David wins this with saying Drummond because it was Drummond.
I'm
So we're gonna
surprised he only
talk
had
about
9 boards. Drummond
9 boards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't sound like
Drummond
a-
didn't have like a big game on the glass.
It
But
just didn't
David-
seem like the other player stat lines. So this game, it's just the Cavs versus the Bucks, you know. So like Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday, they're all just gonna do their thing, and I don't think the Cavs are anywhere near what the Bucks are. So I think that this was just a clear win for the Bucks, unless the Cavs like somehow went like off on shooting threes and stuff like that. So there's not much to say about this game. Yeah.
I don't think anybody's paying attention, but the Bucks are on a 3-game win streak. It just seems like they're starting to pick up their pace from last year in the regular season. But again, it will not matter until the postseason. But just keep an eye out. Giannis is starting to pick it up big time for Milwaukee. And I believe they're second in the East now, all of a sudden. So, Milwaukee just performing okay this year in the regular season so far, but they're going to have to make some big steps in the postseason.
So this is the thing with the Bucks. I think Bud is a horrible coach. And he has a horrible system. They allow a lot of threes. And I think I saw KOT4Q talking about it too. Which is where basically where I'm getting this from. Like they allow teams to shoot their threes, and the Cavs shot 32. And the good teams are gonna make the threes. And they're the best team in the league at beating bad teams because the bad teams can't make the threes. But when they play good teams in the playoffs, that's why they fold, because the good teams are making threes. That may be confusing to understand, but you'll get it if you listen to that again. The Bucks are gonna get exposed with this like horrible system defensively. Like the Bucks have really good individual defenders. Drew Holiday, All NBA. Giannis is the DPOY. Chris Middleton's a pretty good defender. I'd say he's an underrated defender. Brook Lopez, he's an all defensive player. Like they have like an overwhelming amount of good defenders, and they're playing with this horrible system. And Dante DiVincenzo is a good defender. They just have a bunch of guys who hustle on the defensive end, but they play with such a bad system. And Giannis doesn't guard the team's best player for some reason. It's just tragic. I don't have much to say about the Cavs. I think they had like a fluke start to the season because when they start playing better teams, they're going to keep losing. They're definitely a lottery team. Like they're not going to be. Or well, obviously a lottery team. I don't think they're going to be top 10. I think yeah. So that's all I have to say.
I mean, you guys all know how I feel about the Bucks, man. I've never been a believer in the Bucks as long as they have that clown as their coach. I mean, like they're not gonna go anywhere. Like as Darian said, that drop coverage is gonna get exposed in the playoffs. And it's not they didn't lose to the Miami Heat because Bam had some incredible series or Butler had some incredible series. It was because you allowed Duncan Robinson and Kelly Olynyk and Myers Leonard to hit a bunch of open threes. They just lost to the Hornets I think a week ago because they allowed them to hit a bunch of open threes. Their philosophy has never changed, and it's never going to change with him as their coach. So I always think they're going to be pretenders in the playoffs. There's no way they're going to do anything with that system defensively. And like Darian said, they have a lot of individual great defenders, but they don't play. They don't have a system that benefits all those defenders because they run this stupid drop coverage where they just allow the big to sag off and let teams just pull up for three. And the NBA, in this day and age, the NBA players are trained to shoot threes. They're too good for this. You're literally giving teams, the license, the green light to chuck up 40 threes per game. And I know the Cavs only had 32, but in a playoff series, they're going to get exposed. It's cool for now in the regular season, 3-game winning streak. That's cool. But I'm still not going to be a believer in their team as long as Budenholzer is their coach. Let's move on to the next game, the next stat line, actually. So 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. The options are – okay,
No.
they just got it off the rip.
Wait,
I
no,
literally knew it. As soon as you said 30 points, I knew it was Kyle Lowry.
No, you said 7 rebounds. Lowry had 7 assists.
Oh, yeah, 7 assists. Yeah, wait.
Oh. Wait, what?
Yeah, he had 7 assists.
Kyle Lowry's stat line was 37-something yesterday. That's what I knew.
No, I just mixed up rebounds and assists.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyle Lowry had a really good.
Thanks, Tatus, for letting us hear the options, by the way.
Go ahead. Since David and Darian, y'all can go first on the subject because y'all are Raptors fans.
David, you can go.
Yeah. I think that this is just a good one for us. I mean, I know KD was just in and out of the game, but it was still it showed that our guys can still compete with good teams, and that even when KD was there, I think the Nets, as soon as KD went off, as soon as he got out, that's when the Nets actually took the lead. Before that, we were always leading by 1 or 2 points. So I feel like that people are really underestimating our team this year, and we did this without OG, which is our best defender. So without him, we're keeping up with the people who say that the Nets are the best team in the league. So I feel like everybody in the league underlooks who the Raptors are and what they can do. But I think that we have a tough squad and that we could battle with the best of them. But in the playoffs, I don't expect us to go far. But all I'm saying is if they do get an upset, I wouldn't be too surprised.
All right, so we beat the Nets by 6 with our best player, who is Fred VanVleet, best player, first option, whatever. Kyle Lowry is always our main guy, but Fred VanVleet is the best player on this team. He went 4 of 16 from the field and won by 6. I think this is more of a reflection to the Nets. I know KD was gone, but you need to be able to play if you're going to put 2 superstars around or have a team with 3 superstars, when one of them's out, you should still be able to play the game. You have 2 more superstars than the Raptors have. And their defense is just so bad. Lowry and Siakam combined for 63 points. And Siakam was literally destroying the Nets in the paint. Nobody could guard this guy, which is surprising because usually people can guard Siakam because all he does is spin, apparently. This guy had a great 33, 11, and 6. When he was getting actually defended, he would pass the ball. He got 3 steals. He was playing good defense. The Nets just suck at defense. Lowry popped off in the fourth quarter. He was just exposing them. James Harden can't play defense. He gets steals, but he can't defend. Kyrie absolutely can't defend. They have a low IQ defensive team, and without Kevin Durant, they play a lot of I don't know what happens. Even though KD isn't the one that stops them from playing ISO necessarily, when they go on offense, it's literally Kyrie. They both get ran off the 3-point line. They either chuck up a shot or pass it to the guy who's open in the corner. They don't have a good offensive system without Kevin Durant. because I don't think James Harden and Kyrie Irving can play well together, just them two. So this is a good win. Don't look too fast, but the Raptors are the 7th seed now, tied with the Hawks for the 6th seed. They're a playoff team, so
we also play the Hawks tomorrow, so whoever wins that game
today. We play the Hawks today.
Sorry, today. My bad.
Yeah.
I think I just need to stop watching Raptor games because apparently when I watch them, they always win. And they always just prove me wrong whenever I just absolutely slam them. But again, this game was a big win for the Raptors, but the Nets defense is so bad. Like, it is atrocious. I have never seen a more atrocious defense than maybe the Rockets last year. Like, it's so what they're trying to do. They're trying to run small ball again. Like, I'm pretty like I don't remember seeing DeAndre Jordan on the court in the second half at all. They were running Jeff Green at the 5, and he gives zero, and I mean zero, presence as a rim protector. No wonder Siakam had 33 yesterday. Like, no wonder Kyle Lowry was getting to the rim with ease. No wonder Norman Powell was destroying the paint defense. Like, this Nets defense is atrocious. And if they somehow lose in the playoffs, it's going to be because this team cannot guard a snail on the perimeter or guard anything inside the paint. And they have got to get a center on the squad. I know the Cavs said they're not going to buy out Andre Drummond, so they're probably going to have to trade for Andre Drummond. And it's going to be very tough for the Nets, but they've really got to shore up their defense. And now with KD probably going to be out for the next few sore games, like, they're in trouble. Like, they have got to get some chemistry together. They've got to get some sort of rim protection. They've got to shore up something. But I do want to talk about the Raptors for one last second. They are a playoff team. They will make it to the first round. They'll probably play someone like Philly or Milwaukee or Boston or Brooklyn. But I just don't see them winning a playoff series. I could see them winning a few games because they're so scrappy. But I just don't think they'll win a playoff series. But the Nets defense is atrocious, man. Go ahead, Suaz.
Okay, first of all, the NBA was tripping last night because I don't know what they were doing allowing Kevin Durant to play. I don't know why he was eligible to play. I think the only reason why the only guess that I have is because they wanted the money, because it was a nationally televised game. They wanted to see that star they wanted Kevin Durant to go out there and play to get some TV views. If it was TLC who had contact tracing, there's no way he would have played last night. So I don't know why Kevin Durant was forced to play, and then you take him out in the third quarter. Then he tweeted "Free me," so they have to fix that. I don't know what that was. But yeah, even after that, the Nets defense sucks. I think trading for Andre Drummond isn't that hard because I just heard that his value is a second-round pick. Like, literally, someone just like an NBA journalist. There was like NBA journalists saying that his value is just a second-round pick. So, I mean, if the Nets want him like that bad, just trade for him, bro. It's not that hard. Like, your second-round picks, you already traded enough picks anyway. So your second-round picks won't mean anything. And yeah, I mean, and apart from that, I think that whole Kevin Durant situation was just that just messed up. I think Steve Nash said that messed up the rhythm of the team, but that's still no excuse as to why they played so terrible defensively. I actually didn't even watch this game completely. But I did watch like the end, and Kyle Lowry hit a few big shots. And then I was really impressed with Norman Powell is like a really underrated player. I really like Norman Powell's game. He's just a guy that can just get hot at any time, just light it up. He had another, he's a very consistent player, 18 points. And Pascal just dominated with no one down low. For the Nets that could stop him. So yeah, good win for the Raptors. Nets need to address the defense. Next stat line is 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. I made sure that I got the rebounds and assists right this time. And the options are Malik Beasley, Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler.
Malik Beasley.
Malik Beasley.
Yeah, I don't think. No, yeah, it has to be Malik Beasley.
Yeah, it is Malik Beasley. So we'll talk about the Timberwolves versus the Thunder. David, if you want to go first.
Oh, this game. Well, I picked the Thunder to win because
me
I
too.
don't know. I thought they were gonna win. I thought maybe like Shea would do something, but he didn't play, and it didn't change. But I thought he was gonna play, but he didn't. Anyways, D'Angelo Russell, what a shot! He just at the top of the key. I think it was like 3 seconds left in the game, tie game. Just dribbling a little bit deep out. He steps a little bit forward, he shoots in it. Swish. What a shot. I think that Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell are probably one of the most underrated backcourts in the NBA. Nobody ever like talks about them. And like I think that defensively they're bad, sure, but their offensive like scoring and D'Lo's passing ability is Anthony Edwards plays small forward. Anthony Edwards plays small forward. So yeah, he does. And I think that their scoring ability is great, with Malik being able to get you like 20 points and D'Lo being able to get you like 23 points. So offensively, probably the most underlooked backcourt in the league.
As for this game, D'Angelo Russell, man, this is what we expect. Ice in his veins. He had ice in his veins, hit a big shot. Other than that, Al Horford had his best game as an Oklahoma City Thunder center. But the problem is that I've been seeing a lot of rumors on Twitter. What is Al Horford doing in Oklahoma? He needs to get out. But the problem is nobody wants to trade for a center that's making $27 million. Sorry, $30 million, I think, over the next few years. A 2+1 option. He's just too expensive. Like, I don't know anybody else that's willing to take on that contract. The Celtics could use their trade exception, Darian. But the problem is we've already been through the Al Horford experiment. I doubt he comes back to Boston. Or even Danny Ainge, just throws in the trade exception, just gets him for free by giving up a second-round pick or something. I doubt it. But he's a very solid player. The problem with him last year was he was just playing with Joel Embiid. That was not going to work to start. But Al Horford had a very good game yesterday. Hamidou Diallo had a very good game yesterday as well. But D'Angelo Russell has ice in his veins apparently. So,
all right. So let's not be fooled. Okay. So D'Angelo Russell, I liked him a lot. Okay, but I'm gonna be straight up. I think he's one of the most overrated players in the league. Because, bro, if you see the Timberwolves, their team is so bad without Cat. Like, this dude, he's only averaging 19 points. He's shooting 42% of the field. He's shooting 17 shots and making 7. That's so bad. Like, this guy, I don't even know why he's not playing. Why is he getting 30 minutes a game? Like, that's tragic. He's averaging 19.9. Yeah, 20 points per game. Like, that's on a team with nobody else. Like, Malik Beasley's nice, but like, he's not a superstar. He's not a star. Like, he can put up big numbers because no one else is shooting the shots on this team. This team is so dog that even when Cat doesn't play, D'Lo's supposed to be the number 2 guy. This guy puts up 20 points per game, and Cat's played 4 games this season. Like, you should be at upwards of 25 points a game. But he's being overrated not only by like people like people on social media, but you guys too. Like, this guy's not that good. Well, he's good, but he's overrated. If he was on a contending team, he's like a 13 point per game scorer. If he's the third option, he's the first option on a team averaging 20 points. That's not good, or good enough. That's why the Timberwolves suck. And I think Cat should leave Minnesota ASAP. This guy's wasting his talent. I think he can end up, if he ends up on the right team, being a top center, at least a top 10 center of all time. Like, with his talent, he's insane. So I think you should definitely leave Minnesota. This team's tragic. Don't waste your career. I don't really care about this game too much because it was 2 lottery teams playing. I know the Thunder are playing good right now, but they're not a good team. So excuse me. So yeah.
I just want to say something about you saying that D'Angelo Russell's the most overrated player.
I said
nobody
he's one of the most overrated players.
Yeah, you said he's one of the most, but nobody ever talks about him. How can he be the most overrated when nobody ever talks about you? How?
Because
That's all I want to know.
Well, I feel like he's not getting, maybe not overrated, but he's not getting the hate that he should be, or like the slander that he should be getting. Because he's inefficient, and he's the first option on the best
He's
team.
never been an efficient player. His highest, what's it called? Field goal percentage in his career is 43%.
He was on a playoff team and he put up better numbers, but now he's on with one of the worst teams in the West, and he's putting up horrible numbers.
He was on
for
a
a guy.
playoff team in Golden State for 33 games.
Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn, yeah. Well, I mean, he put up 21 and 7 as the first option.
Yeah, but they made
so
the
far,
playoffs.
he's been like half the time first option because Cat's barely played. But he's also
Not half the time. Cats played 4 games. They've played how many games? They played 22 games.
Anyways, listen, he's been flip-flopping from teams. He was from Brooklyn, and he's Golden State, and this is only like his 30th game on Minnesota. So
I don't care.
And the roster's also always changing. This season's roster is different from last season's. So I think that he just needs to find his role, because recently in the past few games he's been playing great. In the first few games he was playing terrible. I had him on my fantasy team, and like I knew that he was playing bad, but now he's playing he's playing really decent. And I think that
I finessed David, bro. I traded him D'Angelo Russell for like Colin Sexton and Chris Middleton.
I ended up getting D'Angelo Russell.
I don't think
Yeah.
decent.
it was him and somebody else.
You said he's playing really decent. I don't think really decent's good enough for a guy who's the option and he gets the main shots on this team. Like, he had a game winner, that's nice, but it was open 3.
That's the past few games, not just today.
No,
pretty decent isn't good.
Darian, you know what's been happening the last few games is D'Angelo Russell's actually been laboring a quad injury for the past few games.
Then don't play.
So he's been playing limited minutes, like 25.
If you're gonna go into the game, you should play as hard as you can. I know a lot of guys who are playing with a little bit of injuries. I'm convinced that Kawhi's been 5 years with an injured knee. So I mean, we saw what he did in the playoffs with the Raptors when he was injured.
Oh, but he said he's on a minutes restriction.
Yeah, but like he's still inefficient. Like, he's putting up a lot of shots. He put up how many shots did he put up last night? I mean, he was efficient last night.
Shots on that team, though, bro.
Darren, you're the guy who always defends. Like, if you're the first option, you always have to put up a lot of shots. You're not going to be efficient.
Yeah,
You can't score. You're the guy who defends that.
But you still have to get points. 20 points.
He put up 13 shots on 21 points. He shot 50.
No, yesterday he was efficient. How many minutes did he play last night? He played 31. That's when I was talking about LeBron and the Cavs. Like, they literally have no one else that could score. But he was still scoring a lot of points. He was just like inefficient. Like, he's getting like 40 points, but he's just under 50%. That's different than averaging 19.9 points and shooting 43% from the field.
Yeah. All right, that's
He's-
okay. Who cares? We can move on to the next thing.
All right.
All right, wait. Before we even move on, I wanted to talk about the reason I picked the stat line is because I've always been a big fan of Malik Beasley's game, and I've called him the most underrated player in the NBA. I'm going to stick by that because I don't think anyone talks about Malik Beasley, but he's a hooper, man. Malik Beasley's a very good player. There's a lot of head scratching when he got that contract, but if you watched him last year, like the games that he played with the Timberwolves, he was hooping. So shout out to Malik Beasley. But we can move on to the next stat line, which is 25, 8 and 1. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, I should say. Your options are
Kendrick
Carson
Nunn?
Edwards.
Yeah,
This Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, I knew it because what happened yesterday, I was playing, what's his name? I was playing Shaw, and Shaw had Kendrick Nunn in his lineup, and I saw he had 25 points. So, but go ahead, David. You can start on this Wizards Heat game.
Well, I mean, this game was just like the Wizards sucking ass, bro. Like, Beal had 7 points on 14 shots. He was 1 of 14, 1 of 7 from 3. Like, some games when you're the only scorer in the team and you can't get it going, it's just going to happen. And I think that this is a game where Westbrook needs to step up, but he didn't play many minutes because it was already like a blowout. So they already just subbed him off. He only had 13 points. He wasn't even bad, like, efficiently. He shot 44%. That's okay. But still, I think that in the games like these, if you see that Beal's not being able to hit his shots and Westbrook needs to step up, and this team's terrible defensively anyways, so one of these two guys, like, if the other guy's not getting it going, they need to do something offensively, because we know that defensively they're going to get scored on by other teams, and they just need to try to keep up offensively.
All right, so we need I'm sorry, did I change this? We're going to go?
It's fine. Go ahead.
I don't understand how we're gonna sit here and blame Russell Westbrook when Bradley Beal's like. I don't care if Russell Westbrook has to step it up when Bradley Beal's playing bad. This isn't on Russell Westbrook. Like, this dude's getting hated on regardless. Like, if you play bad, all right, go ahead, David.
I was gonna say after you, but you just continue, and then I'll respond.
Russell Westbrook gets hated on daily, so him playing bad is actually getting a reaction. I don't know why no one's talking about how Bradley Beal shot 1 of 14. Like, that's not good enough. Actually, that's worse than not good enough. That's like not even a scrub does that bad, because a scrub's not putting up 14 shots. I don't care if you've been putting up 50-point games and losing, because I don't care about your points if you're losing. You can't put up 7 points in the game and then lose by 27 points. Like, that's not acceptable. I don't care if Russell Westbrook played bad, which he usually does because he's bad at basketball, apparently. Alex Len can't be the leading scorer on this team, and you can't blame your team for losing when you're putting up 7 points in the game and missing 13 shots.
Oh no, the blame on this game is 100% bad. I was just saying that when you're other let's say there's two teammates on any team. If one teammate's doing bad, who's gonna step up? That's all I'm gonna say.
Russell Westbrook's not good enough.
It's not his fault at all. But I'm just saying he just sometimes needs to step up. He sometimes needs to take more shots. He only took 9 shots this game. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's his fault at all.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about this game, but this is the simple case of if the alpha isn't playing well, the Robin has to take over. And Russell Westbrook couldn't do that yesterday. Like, simple, but if your alpha doesn't get going, the Robin has to take over, and the Robin didn't take over. Like, Russell Westbrook couldn't take over, and I don't think anybody on the Wizards, for that matter, could even hit shots. Like, Westbrook tried to, but he just couldn't. Like, but anyways, good game for the Heat. But they're just rattled with injuries and COVID. And, like, they have got to get back on track soon, and I think they will somehow make the playoffs. But I feel like it's going to be a 6, 7, or 8 seed, and they're going to have to play one of the better teams in the league, first round. And it's going to be tough, but Miami's got to pick it up. Meanwhile, for Washington, I don't get why Bradley Beal doesn't want to leave. I get it. You're trying to be a loyal guy. Like, Washington is your city. But are you kidding me? You're putting up 35 a night to just lose every single day. Like, I don't understand what's going on with Bradley Beal. But anyways, that's more the point. Good win for the Heat.
Okay, so I watched this game obviously because I'm a Heat fan, and while Bradley Beal was getting clamped, like we were just letting anybody shoot. Like, we were throwing doubles at Bradley Beal. We were stunting Bradley Beal. We weren't allowing Bradley Beal to beat us. I think that was a good plan because no one else on the Wizards was stepping up. And I think this might be a very stupid thing to say, but I think Russell Westbrook is getting to that point where he's starting to decline. His athleticism is starting to decline. Because when he was getting to the rim, he was not making, like David said, 44%, blah, 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 blah. He was settling for a lot of those pull-up mid-range shots, and they were going in. But there were times where he had Tyler Hero on him, Goran Dragic on him. He took him to the rim. He took them to the rim and just hit all backboard. Didn't even hit the rim. None of those layups, like those patented Russell Westbrook, finishing, like that was not there yesterday. He might be playing with an injury. So maybe I'll reserve my judgment like after his quad heals up or whatever. But from what I saw last night, he doesn't look the same player that he once was. And I think that pull up mid range is still green, but teams are just daring him to shoot threes. His finishing is not that lethal anymore, in my opinion. So if you take out Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook isn't the same guy that he was, before. He'll have flashes, but I just think he's getting up there in age, and he's starting to lose some of that athleticism. And as for the Heat, Kendrick Nunn should be getting. I think Kendrick Nunn should be in the starting lineup. I love Kendrick Nunn. But he still had a great game off the bench. Him and Tyler Hero had great games off the bench. Kelly Olynyk finally had a good game. Like, for once in a lifetime, Kelly Olynyk made some threes. I was getting ready to sign a petition to waive him, but yeah, and I think Kendrick Nunn should start at the point guard position to be over Dragic. I think Dragic is a sixth man, and I think Dragic and Hero should be back the sixth man backcourt. Because last season, Kendrick Nunn during the regular season was a great player. He's a very good player in the starting lineup because his finishing is something that we lack. I think the only finishers that we have are Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Kendrick Nunn on the team, who are bona fide finishers. So yeah, great game for Kendrick Nunn. Wizards need to fire Scott Brooks ASAP. Otherwise, they're not going to get anywhere. So they're massively underachieving right now. We all projected them to be, what is it, 8-9 seed? We didn't project them to be where they were right now. So I think
Yeah,
Scott
and
Brooks has
in
to
the
go.
playing game, everybody had them in the playing game.
Yeah, Scott Brooks has to go. But we'll move on to the next stat line. 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Your options are Jason Tatum, Jeremy Grant, and Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah.
If it was Tatum, that Tatum would have said in the first like 0.5.
It was close. I thought it was close. I'm pretty sure it was close to Tatum's stat line. Tatum had 31. I know that, or 34.
What's
It's
close to Tatum?
Bogdanovic.
Yeah, so I was
It
like,
is
wait,
Bogdanovic.
and then I was like, no, he had more than 31. And then
Go ahead,
I'm-
David. We can talk about Utah and Charlotte.
well,
Go ahead,
I mean, this game was just LaMelo Ball on the Hornets and Gordon Hayward. And the Terriers did something, but other than that, not many people were like getting it going. And I think the Jazz just like took over. Donovan Mitchell had 30, Boyan had 31, Rudy Gobert had his 12 normal, Conley had 16, Jordan Clarkson had 15 off the bench. It's just the Jazz; they're on a roll right now. They've been on a roll this entire season, and they're just playing they're playing great basketball. And I think that I know that the Hornets are an easy team to beat because they're not like on the Justice level, but still they're just playing great as a team.
And before anyone else goes, KD could miss multiple games. He's not traveling for the 76ers game today. He's expected to miss 3 more games as of right now.
Yeah, I'm
Breaking
not
news.
surprised. I'm not surprised. COVID protocols are, you know how they work. But anyways, Utah and Charlotte. Utah Jazz, man. I had them as a 7 seed. I remember Darian had them as like a 7 or 6 seed, I think. David had them as a 6 seed. I'm pretty sure Hudson had them as like a 6 or 5 seed. Suhas had them as a 4 seed or somewhere around that area. They're playing so well. Like they're the Denver Nuggets of last season. Like if you think about it, they're the Denver Nuggets of last season, overperforming. The record shows it. They're definitely gonna get out of the first round this year. Because Donovan Mitchell is one of my favorite players to watch in this league. And he's just, this entire team is just on a roll. We remember when Bogdanovic was having that shooting slump to start the season. Well, he has turned it around. He's on straight fire right now. Same with Jordan Clarkson, who just seems to be a torch off the bench. Like, it just seems like they don't miss. They just don't miss from 3. Like they just don't. And it's just unbelievable to see a team be so hot at the right time. They like, we all know the Utah Jazz, what they usually do is they click during the middle of the season. They usually have a slow start, like last season and the year before. They have a slow start and they pick it up in the middle of the season. They go on this win streak and they get to the 4, 5 seed, 6 seed. This year, it's happening at the beginning of the season, and that might turn out in their favor in getting a top 3 seed. They're playing so well. They're just on fire, but they won't be on fire next Tuesday. So I'll get to that later. But I want to talk about Charlotte as well. LaMelo Ball is proving he's going to be the face of the franchise for years to come. I think Charlotte has finally found their face after letting Kemba go. LaMelo is the real deal, man. Like, I don't know what else to say. And James Borrego had him coming off the bench. Like, it's just crazy. Nobody talks about Charlotte that much, but this team is actually kind of dangerous, to be honest. They have a lot of shooting. They have some really nice wings and Bridges and PJ Washington and Hayward, obviously. And yeah, the 3-guard lineup that they run with Rozier, Graham, and LaMelo, it isn't going to work. One of them has to come off the bench. I don't know why they ran that lineup today. They went really small. Other than that, Charlotte might make the play-in tournament. with the GOAT Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller is just a stud. I mean, what else do you want me to say? But that's how that game went. Good win for Utah.
Alrighty, so first I want to talk about LaMelo Ball. He's proving Suhas wrong. The ultimate hater who thinks Anthony Edwards is better at basketball, which is wrong because we all know LaMelo Ball is better than
I did
Anthony
not
Edwards.
say Anthony Edwards is better. I said he's gonna have a better career.
Okay, he's definitely not gonna have a better career. Anthony Edwards is a scrub. He's gonna be the worst first round pick in recent history, excluding the other Anthony. All the Anthonys except for the Davis are just scrubs apparently. So, I Charlotte won't be a top 10 seed. And here's why. Because unless Miami somehow isn't top 10, I don't see how. Because the top 8 in the East, I don't think they're gonna change. Like they're gonna obviously change, but I think they're guaranteed top 10. The Sixers, Bucks, Nets, Boston, Indiana, Atlanta, Toronto, New York. I think New York's gonna be there. I think Miami. I still believe that Washington can pick it up. And I think if they somehow get into a playing game, I'm not sure. I think they can do good if their team's healthy, but obviously they're not doing too good. If Cleveland can get in there, if Cleveland continues to play good, I don't think they will. But Miami, I expect to make the playing game, maybe the 10 seed. Then Charlotte would have to either be the 9 seed or I don't know. The East is kind of weird, but I'm not too sure. Charlotte could make it. They might not. I wouldn't pick them. I'm not going to look too deep into this game for Charlotte. I'm just going to talk about the Jazz. So the Utah Jazz, they are 18-5, I think. Let me check. They're 18-5, or they're 19-5. I'm not sure. They're 18-5. Yeah. They're playing better than I expected. And I think. Here, let me put it this way. In the bubble last season, if Mike Conley had made that shot at the buzzer, Utah would have played the Lakers in the conference finals. I have no doubt that Utah would have beat the Clippers the way they were playing because they were absolute scrubs. But Utah was a good team last season, and they played good. I think Utah would have played the Lakers. They obviously still would have lost, but it could have been a whole different season. Clippers wouldn't have won a 3-1 lead. They would have lost. I don't know which one's more humiliating though. But I think Utah's good. I don't think they're good enough though. This team, they don't have. I when I look at their team, I wouldn't guess that they're a number 1 seed in the West. But they have some like underrated players on their team. It's pretty good. But I'm not scared of the Jazz. Because they're not a scary team to me. Really, we'll just see in the playoffs, I guess. So I didn't pick them to do as good as this, I guess. I think I said 7. I think I said 8 seed for the Jazz. So they're overperforming from what I thought they were going to do. But they're good teams. They're better than a good team. They're a great team.
Jazz, no, because I was the only one on the pod for them to be top 4. Always knew they were underrated, but I guess I was the only one. Hornets are a very surprising team. I mean, I didn't really expect the Hornets to compete like this. Like LaMelo, great game. Gordon Hayward is slowly becoming the old Gordon Hayward, and it's great to see. 25, 10, and 5. I think if his team's record was better, he would probably be in the All-Star game. But yeah, he still deserves, Gordon Hayward is having a great season, man. I'm so happy about that injury. I damn well know the Celtics could use him right now. So yeah, great game from the Jazz. And yeah, shout out to Gordon Hayward. Let's move on to the next stat line, which is 23 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Your options are Devin Booker, Kemba Walker, and
Devin Booker.
Yeah, he glitched. I didn't know his last name.
Oh, I said Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell's going to be an option. Talking about the game, yeah. So it's between Devin Booker and Kemba.
Yeah.
Booker, yeah.
Yeah, Booker.
But David, go ahead and
We're
start.
talking about the Suns and Pistons, David.
So, well, I mean, Suns, Chris Paul recently for the Suns, he's been playing great. He started off the season a little bit cold scoring wise. In the past few games, I'm pretty sure he's been averaging over like 25 points per game in the past like 5 games. He's playing great. He had like 3 30-point games. He had 29 and 7 tonight. Mikal Bridges had an off night. Normally he's been pretty consistent this season. He's averaging like that nice 15 points, but he's playing great defense. Devin Booker, he's been taking a step down a little bit this year with another guard who's ball dominant, Chris Paul. But then the last guy I want to talk about on the Suns is Deandre Eaton. He's been such a disappointment to me this season. Like last season, he averaged 22? Was it like 22 points per game? And with Chris Paul on the team, who normally makes centers with Eaton's skill set a lot better, he's averaging 14 points. He's averaging less than last season by a lot. And I just think it's very disappointing in my opinion, because I thought that with Chris Paul, he's going to play great. And last night he only had 8 points on 36%. And Frank Kaminsky outplayed him. He had 15 points. And Eton Moore scored more than him as well. So I don't know about that. Like Ayton's just struggling a little bit right now. And on the Detroit side, I mean, this game wasn't very competitive because these teams are two different classes. Jeremy Grant gets over 20 points, etc. The rest of the team didn't do that great. But other than that, the Suns won. It was a pretty simple win.
All right, so you're wrong. Sorry, Tejas. I just need to say this. Like DeAndre Eaton, he dropped 4 points. This man's getting like 4 less shots a game, and he's getting less minutes too. Like the team's gone a lot better from last year. You can't it's not a fair comparison. I thought he was gonna do better, but he's more efficient than he was last year. He's playing. I think he's he's not giving but 0.6 less minutes. That's still less minutes, and he's getting 4 less shots. The team's more well-rounded. They still have a better team. When you take away shots from someone, for a guy who shoots like 60+%, out of those 4 shots, statistically, like math-wise, he's gonna be making majority of those shots. So he would have more points a game. And Chris Paul isn't making him worse. He's just not getting the same opportunity he was last year because the team is better, and that's just like an obvious. When your team gets better, as a third option, and Mikal Bridges is playing like a beast too, you get less opportunity, so your stats are gonna drop a little bit. That doesn't mean he's less effective to his team.
I just want to say something. A center with the level of a center with the skill set of Ayton, especially at his age. He's normally improving every single year. In his first year, he had 16 points per game. Second year, 18 points per game. I get that his team got better, but he did get one of the best playmakers in this league.
Bro, he's getting less opportunity, though.
Well, he's not getting less opportunity, but he should be taking those shots. He should be playing more aggressive. He's a young player. He needs to.
When we taking those shots, he's shooting 63%. Yeah, that's what he's getting. 56. You get you added a guy who takes like 15+ shots a game to the team, and Mikal Bridges is taking more shots than he did last year. That takes away shots. You can't have like an unlimited amount of shots a game. There's only a limited amount of shots, and especially in a blowout too. Or actually, no, we're talking about season. Never mind. But he played bad last game. You don't want to play your start at the end of the game.
Shots on 15+, anyways.
Okay, that's 2 less. 13.
Why is Ayton letting Bridges get more shots than him? Why is he not playing more aggressive? He's much better.
Mikal Bridges is a catch and shoot shooter. Ayton isn't a catch and.
He doesn't. Not all of his majority.
Majority of his points are catch and shoot. Mikal Bridges doesn't create you're wrong.
He gets the ball on the perimeter when he's open, but then he puts the ball on the floor and makes a play for himself.
Ayton's actually been more effective to his team this year than he's been a better defender. He's more efficient from the field, so he's missing.
He's been more efficient from the field, but he hasn't played aggressive, and he hasn't played anything.
Oh, well, that's because you don't watch the Suns. You don't watch the Suns.
I do watch the Suns, actually. He's an improving
you don't.
player. You don't.
Well, according to you, he's not improving.
In your third year, you don't take less shots than your first year as a rookie.
Well, when your team gets a guy who's the alpha male who takes 13 shots, that's 13 shots he didn't have.
His rookie season, he played.
Oh, shut up, man!
This season.
No, you're wrong.
More efficient, more points per game, more blocks per game.
You're so wrong.
It's only different.
You're so wrong.
Okay.
It's unreal.
I guess I'm going to step in and we're going to keep on going. Good game for the Suns. They beat a Pistons team in the lottery. Jeremy Grant had a good game like always and still lost. The Suns are nice though. They'll make the playoffs, but nothing much to say here. Good win for the Suns, but they will hold this L on Sunday.
Okay. So let's talk about this game. about the Aiden argument, the only problem that I have with Aiden is that sometimes he's very soft offensively. He settles for a lot of, fadeaways and all that stuff instead of backing his man down. I need him to do that more because his skill set he has his skill set is very unique. He's a very dominant player inside when he tries. He just doesn't try enough. I just need him to try some more, and then he can reach his potential. He's just not being that aggressive. But he'll step it up. He's still very young. I think Chris Paul is one of the best leaders in the NBA. So he will make sure that Ayton gets more aggressive if he has to. On the Pistons side, shout out to Isaiah Stewart, steal of the draft in my opinion. Watched him at Washington. Amazing, amazing player, man. Isaiah Stewart, can't believe he fell that low. He's just a hustle guy. A lot of Pistons fans have been talking about him. And for a reason, 10-10. He's just a very good player, Isaiah Stewart. And Jeremy Grant had a good game. Blake Griffin needs to be traded. He's just a shell of his old self. I think his contract probably expires in a couple years anyway. I don't know who's gonna take his contract, but yeah, he just needs to get off that team, man. He's just stunting the development of some of these players. So for the last game, for the last stat line, there's gonna be no options. Okay, whoever guesses the stat line, I guess will go first. So just be prepared, okay? Because obviously there's only one game remaining. I don't want to give you guys 3 options. 24 points.
Kemba
4
Walker.
rebounds. 4 assists.
Oh, you said 4 rebounds. I was gonna say Kemba, and you said 4 rebounds. I was like, there's no way Kemba had 4
It was
rebounds.
4 assists. Yeah, I was correcting myself. Yeah, so 4
Kemba.
assists. So Tejas, I think, said it first.
Oh yeah, Tejas, go ahead and I'll go second.
I'll go
I
through.
need to go first because I had a great night of sleep knowing that my team beat arguably one of the top teams in the league. But before I get into in depth on this game, I would like to make a few points. So yesterday in our group chat, Darian, David, and Suhas decided to go all in on the Celtics. And so last night, I decided to take a few screenshots. And let's just go over what they said, shall we? Darian said, maybe if Kemba doesn't know into cardiac arrest and Tatum learns how to play defense, they can lose by 15. He said Tatum is so ass. I can't believe you think he's better than LeBron. Let's see here. Okay. Darian also said it's going to be a blowout. You guys can talk earlier, which it will be. I doubt Tejas is going to record when he loses by 25. Darian said Clippers by 17. Screenshot this. David said Clippers by 14. Darian said Celtics suck. Shut your mouth. Let's see here. Darian also said, ha ha ha, get shit on. Jalen was scared, so he chose to sit. Suha said, Lamo, Jalen is out. And Darian said, Kemba sucks. So let's just get all into it, shall we? I just want to talk about something first, though. Darian had made a statement earlier this year that Jason Tatum could not play defense at all. And I believe that statement got shoved up his ass yesterday when Jason Tatum locked up Kawhi Leonard in the last 5 minutes of the game. Jason Tatum showed why he's a very good defender. Okay, and I don't want to hear any more of this. He's not good on defense from Darian. Second point, when your Robin isn't there, the alpha has to take over. The alpha yesterday for the Celtics took over. The alpha for the Clippers did not. And Jason Tatum took over, and he showed why he's a superstar. Not just a budding rising star. He's a superstar. Get it in your head, okay? And third point I want to make, y'all talked all this crap about Kemba Walker. I'm so glad he had such a good game yesterday. I'm so glad. I told y'all, just give him a few games to let him get his rhythm, and he'll be back. And guess what? when we needed a shot in the fourth quarter yesterday, it was Kemba Walker that made the play, and that's why the Celtics won. The Celtics need Kemba in order to win, and get to the finals. They need Kemba Walker beside Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, because if those two are getting trapped and not able to hit shots, they need Kemba Walker. And he was clutch yesterday, big time for them. But, Jason Tatum, man, he's just unstoppable. And I love the fact that he not only did it on the offensive end, but he went and guarded Kawhi Leonard on the defensive end. Now, I just want to say one thing about Kawhi Leonard. All I saw last night was he was running away from Jason Tatum. He didn't want to guard Jason Tatum during the middle of the game. He was just running away because Tatum was just bullying him. 34 points and 4 steals. I think that just shows. It just shows Tatum loves to play against the Clippers. He just absolutely destroys them. If you look at Tatum's career stats against the Clippers over the last 2 years, I think he's averaging 35 points a game. He destroyed the Clippers yesterday. And the fact that the Clippers had the audacity to put Terrence Mann on Jason Tatum, the audacity to put a 6'2", 6'4" guard on Jason Tatum, is just unbelievable. I'm so glad the Celtics won yesterday. I'm just so happy that they just shut everybody up. Good win for them, but the Clippers need to figure things out. They need to figure things out very quickly, or else they're gonna fall apart. They just fell apart in that third quarter. Big win for the Celtics.
All right, so I'm just gonna talk about the Celtics first and try to debunk everything you said. I think you and a lot of people, especially fans of teams that don't have any superstars, like to throw around the term superstar, like it's candy on Halloween. There are about, I would say, 8 or 9 superstars max in the league, and Tatum is not one of them. Do not call him a superstar when he isn't a superstar. I don't think he's the best at anything in basketball. He's not at the top of any attribute, nothing. He's lacking defensively. I don't think that changed. Why Leonard get to him later, and I'll explain why. I don't think he was running away from Jason Tatum. You just don't want to spend all your energy on their number one player when you can put other guys on him. And Tatum's going to go off regardless because he's a really good player. He's a great player. He's an amazing player, but he's not a superstar. Not yet. Kemba Walker didn't have a great game, as you like to say. 24 points, that's nice, but not when you're shooting 9 of 19 and you go 2 of 7 for 3. That's inefficient. He didn't have any turnovers.
Hold up, time. He started 1 for 7 to start the game.
Yeah, sadly, I don't.
He started 1 for 7 and finished 8 for 12. That's the Kemba I want to see.
That's great.
Dorian, you throw around the term inefficient so often. Kemba shot 47%. How is that inefficient?
No. I'm not thinking that's inefficient, but it's not a great game when percent. You have to shoot over 50% for it to be considered a great game. Maybe a good game, not a great game. He also can't defend. If the Clippers had actual good guards,
no. Time out. Kemba can't defend. Then why was he switching on to Kawhi Leonard yesterday? Kawhi couldn't hit a single shot when Kemba and
I'll get to Kawhi
and Semi Ojeleye and Grant Williams came and doubled.
All right, I'll get to Kawhi. The Celtics won.
No, bro. Kemba Walker was not inefficient. I'm not gonna let you say that. He was not inefficient.
Okay, he wasn't inefficient, but it wasn't a great game because he wasn't efficient. He wasn't inefficient, but he wasn't efficient either.
Anything over 46% is considered efficient.
You're either.
I would say. Yeah, I would say
efficient. I'm not gonna say he had a great game. I thought he had a good game. He started off bad, but he made up for it at the end.
Siakam started 2 of 8. I think I don't remember what Kemba started at. You said 1 of 8 or something.
1 of 7.
But Siakam ended efficiently. His entire overall sideline was efficient. I think over 50% is efficient because you score more than you make, or at least it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Anyways, to the Clippers. I'm gonna talk about Kawhi before I get into the Clippers of the team. They don't have a closer when Paul George doesn't play. I think he's their closer, and I think he's the guy that you put on Jason Tatum because it's a regular season. Kawhi doesn't care about defending Jason Tatum. He's not going to meet him in the playoffs anyway, so it doesn't matter. Paul George is the guy that you put on Jason Tatum. He's more lengthy. He's a more mobile defender, in my opinion, to guard someone like Jason Tatum. He doesn't have to use his strength as much. It's not like LeBron or Giannis. And they really miss him at the end of games because he can make big shots. Lou Williams made a big shot, but that was like a three that he got past to. He didn't create his own shot. Kawhi made a nice
He
pass.
also made that one shot where like it was the game is nearly over. Like unless they missed a free throw. Remember?
I know. I saw that too. That like he made a couple shots, but they still don't have a closer. You need a guy that when, especially in the third quarter, like they just got lost. Ibaka, he was much better on the Raptors than he is on the. I don't think he fits. Okay, this is the thing. He's not a guy he fits, but he's not a great fit. I think Nick Batum's a great fit for the Clippers, but I don't think anyone else is. Reggie Jackson looks lost on the court. He's just really bad. Marcus Morris is like nice sometimes. Zubac, I think Zubac should be starting. I don't know why they start Serge Ibaka. I know he can shoot, but Zubac is way better. But Luke Kennard, he started off good. But this is the thing. Suhas said, whoa. Way better. Okay, no. He's not way better. He's not better, but he's playing better on the Clippers than I expected Serge Ibaka to. And when he plays with Lou Williams, if you put Lou Williams with Ibaka, I don't think it works as well because Lou Williams can make really good passes to Zubac. They run a good pick and roll together, which kind of gets Lou Williams. I think he had 2 assists, and both of them were from that. Let me just check. No, he had 6 assists. Never mind. But he got a lot of them from Zubac. Serge Ibaka is obviously a better defender. Does Zubac play more? 20 minutes? No, he doesn't. He plays 7 minutes less. Serge Ibaka is not offensively as good as Zubac, which is what I was trying to get to because Zubac put up 18 points. I like how he plays. Terrence Mann isn't good. Okay, and I want to get into the game. They lost their depth. And this is what David's going to react to, especially when they're missing Pat Bev and Paul George. It's really tough for them. You cannot play Terrence Mann. He's not good enough to play in an NBA game on a contending team. You have Nick Batum, Kawhi, Serge Ibaka, Luke Kennard. Reggie Jackson isn't good. Marcus Morris, Lou Williams, who's also really bad. Lou Williams is a streaky shooter. If he's not making his shots, he's useless. Like he's worse for your team than he is good. Kawhi Leonard couldn't make shots down the stretch, which is why you think Tatum's a good defender. It wasn't Tatum's defense; it was just Kawhi's offense not being good. Tatum was there, but Kawhi was just missing shots that he usually makes. I don't care who you put on Kawhi; he's making those shots usually. Tatum's not an above-average defender in my eyes. The Clippers, without Paul George, as I said, they look lost, and I think losing JaMychal Green was a huge loss that David, I don't think he really reacts to. Montrez was playing better on the Clippers than Ibaka is. I do think Ibaka as a player is better than Montrezl Harrell, but on the Clippers, Trez was playing better, and Lou Williams dropped 10 points per game, which means their depth is still getting worse because he's playing so much worse. I don't know what happened to Lou Williams because he also can't defend. I don't think this is a team that's contending against the Lakers, honestly. I thought they were. And I don't know who I should be scared of if I'm the Lakers. Because I'm not scared of anyone right now. Because the way the Clippers are playing with no depth and they have worse defense than us, they can't guard Anthony Davis. Now, to begin again to my what I said, I sent a long paragraph. I would have paraphrased, but I think I took up too much time. But I basically said what I said. They're not ready to win a ring. They're not good enough. Now go ahead, David.
Okay, so firstly, you started off with this. You said, first of all, the Clippers fans blamed chemistry last year, and now you have chemistry, but you're still disappointed in losing these close games. So I'm just going to quickly go over a few games that we lost. The Utah game, that was the first game we lost that was close. I'm ignoring the Dallas loss because that was just atrocious. That's just like a routine loss. Utah started off very great from the three-point line. We couldn't really defend it very well. That's like one of those losses that, you're just going to have during the regular season. Against San Antonio, that's also one of those losses. I mean, we didn't have Paul George, but that's not an excuse. San Antonio is not a team that we should be losing to. Against Golden State did the same thing to the Lakers. They came back from down double digits. Against Atlanta, none of our players were playing, so obviously. Against Brooklyn, another one of those routine losses. We made mistakes. They played great in the fourth quarter, etc. And against Boston, this final game. I'm just going to explain why we lost and what happened when we were losing this game. So we were leading around halfway through the third quarter. And that's when the comeback started to happen for Boston. They outscored us by like 20 points around the second half of the third quarter. It started off with what I call the Clippers in 2020 playoffs. We just played iso ball for no reason. There was no motion in our offense. If you watch Clippers games, they have the most success in their offense when everybody's moving. And in that third quarter, nobody was moving. I don't know what happened. like Ty Lue would call timeout, they would continue moving, and then after like 2 possessions, they would stop moving. They would just go back to the ISO ball. No, like you're saying, no offensive weapons, right? But what I'm saying is the Clippers, when Ty Lue tells them to do it, they do it. It works, and then they stop. They don't go to it anymore. I don't know why. They just keep on going back to the ISO ball for no reason. And defensively, also was the reason in the third quarter. They scored like 40 plus points in the fourth quarter. And it was mainly just Tatum on a screen and just shooting a 3. You know why? Because Zubac cannot defend the screen. Whoever's defending Tatum is defending him. They're going to set a screen. I think it was Tristan Thompson, whoever Zubac is defending, set a screen on the right side. Tatum is wide open. Zubac is waiting there in the paint. That is why we need Ibaka, because Ibaka can actually get up on the screens. He's somewhat effective on the perimeter. Zubac cannot guard the perimeter at all. If we put in Ibaka, we would not have been down by 10 going into the fourth quarter. Tatum would not have all those open threes. Tatum would not have all those open looks. I don't know. I think that's one problem. That's the only problem that I've experienced with Ty Lue so far this season. His usage with Ibaka. He doesn't know how to use Ibaka so far. And in the fourth quarter, few more reasons we lost was when Kawhi, like he had to put up some shots because, like he just had to, because it's the fourth quarter, you're down, and he missed them. No excuse for that, just bad shots. And Tatum did steal the ball from him. And I think one play where we actually lost the game, we had a 1-point lead, and Kennard, it was like 30 seconds left. It was after Lou Williams hit that lead to give us that 1-point lead, and then Carson Edwards shoots a 3. The ball misses, and Kennard just decides to run into him. They get 3 free throws, they make all of them. That was the turning point. We had the lead with like 30 seconds, and Kennard decided to fuck it up like that. And the next possession, we missed the shot. So there wasn't anything we could do there. And I think that's a real turning point of today. So you were talking about how we lost the depth, right? Blah, blah, blah. But you said JaMychal Green was a huge loss. Batum is a much better player than JaMychal Green. We got him back. JaMychal Green's off the bench. Now Batum's starting. So that means Marcus Morris moves to the bench. And Marcus Morris is a better player than JaMychal Green is. Then you also said that Serge is worse than Trez was for them. Well, Serge isn't going to be like this like all the time. I think Ty Lue needs to figure out how Serge fits on this team. Because I think that Clippers fans, and I know, like when you're watching how Serge fits, but I think Ty Lue just needs to figure that out. And once he figures it out, Serge will play great. Serge is a better fit than us for Trez. Trez is him and Zubac are not 2 centers that you want to match up together on one team for defense. Trez can't guard the paint, Zubac can't guard the perimeter, and Trez is too small to guard guards. So that is such a terrible combination, and that's what cost us in the Western Conference second round. What was I going to say? Jokic was just destroying us on the bigs. Like we tried putting Kawhi, we tried putting Paul George. You can't do anything; he's too big. So there's that. And also you said you don't care about Kennard. Kennard's better than Shamet. He can create more. And yeah, Lou Williams has been dropping down 10 points per game. But I think that later on in the season, once he gets his rhythm going, which will obviously happen, because if you keep on shooting shots, you're obviously going to see the ball go through the basket, and it's going to happen. Next, you mentioned no leader. They have a bunch of guys that are cocky and aren't winners, and it's not ready for winning a ring, and not in the same, what's I going to say? Same like sentence as the Lakers. And I mean, we don't have a real leader, like a specific leader, but Kawhi, he's the guy who used to lead by example, but this season with Ibaka and Batum, he's felt more comfortable. They've all been talking, them 3 players especially, and Patrick Beverley on the court, he talks the most on defense, and he just plays great defense. He leads the team. He's a defensive leader because he's always talking on defensive end. That's the kind of guy he is. And we just have a bunch of small leaders. I know it's not ideal, but it's something that we're gonna have to deal with, and it's been working when everybody's healthy on our team. And you said you would take any East contender or with depth over them. I'm not gonna say anything about that because obviously I think you're just like trying to just like pick at the Clippers and saying that they would lose to defense, the team in the East.
Is Ibaka gonna guard Joel Embiid? No, I doubt it. No, Marcus Gasol did that.
Marcus Gasol did that, but why wouldn't he? He's the best defender on the Clippers.
No, he's gonna guard him, but he can't guard him. Suhas, finish up.
Yeah, go ahead, Suhas. I'm basically done, anyways. Suhas?
Okay. So yeah. So about this game, I really tuned in the second half. The first half, the Miami game was overlapping to the Boston game, so I couldn't really catch too much of the first half. But this Brad Stevens had some wonky lineup at the start where he had Tristan Thompson, Grant Williams, Tatum, Kemba, and Tice all starting. But I don't think they played that much together because in the first quarter, I'm pretty sure Peyton Pritchard was in after a couple minutes. Um, you have to give the Celtics credit for fighting back. Darian's gonna say that Tatum didn't play good defense. Kawhi just missed shots. You can't just use that excuse all the time. You did the same thing when Siakam went missing in the playoffs. Sometimes the players just gets locked up or gets defended really well. So you just have to give credit where it's due. And Tatum did a very good job defending Kawhi at the end. And the last stretch, I didn't like the Clippers, clock management whatsoever. Kawhi took that mid-range shot. It was a good look, but he took that with 27 seconds remaining on the game clock, right? You were down by 1 point. I would have much rather you ran down the clock and didn't give the Celtics another opportunity to extend their lead by either shooting free throws or by extending their lead by doing anything like making a bucket or shooting free throws. So I would have wanted them to run down the clock until they could, until they could, instead of just shooting as soon as they got the ball. The three by Kawhi was also head scratching because he had two defenders in his airspace, and that was very early in the shot clock as well. I don't know what Reggie Jackson was doing at the end. He was just standing there with the ball, and then he gave it to Batum and the shot and the time expired, like the game was over. It was just bad clock management towards the end. Luke Kennard had a bonehead foul. He fouled a 3-point shooter. It was just all these mistakes that led up to the Clippers ultimately losing this game. I just thought it was a very good game, though. I think in order for me to judge these two teams, I'm gonna have to see them both at full strength. But shout out to Kemba Walker.
I just want to say that,
No.
Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead. You talk
Okay.
on the game.
Look, I gave the Lakers all their respect for beating the Celtics that day on that Saturday because they deserved to win that game. The Celtics did not deserve to win the game. First of all, I still to this fact don't know how the Clippers blew a 17-point lead. Like I just don't, man. Like the Clippers need to figure something out. I'm sorry, 16. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tatum caught fire, and that's why the Celtics won. And I also want to give a shout out to Carson Edwards. Dude played his ass off when it mattered the most. Like without Carson Edwards, I don't think the Celtics win this game. He and Tatum changed the tide of the game completely. They won this game tonight, and I'm glad they did because the Celtics had a bad loss on Wednesday against the Kings because they were on a back-to-back after Tatum and Brown had played 40 minutes on the other night against the Warriors, and they just couldn't finish. Big win against the Clippers. And I hope this changes the season around. If they can somehow win these next two games against Phoenix and Utah, or win at least one of those games, I think we'll be set. And then Thursday will be a very enticing game. We might even do post game after that because a certain team is coming to Boston. I think y'all know who is coming to Boston on Thursday, right?
Raptors, right?
Yes, sir.
That's an easy dub.
I just want to say something before we end it. So, respect to the Celtics, they played great. Tatum in that third quarter just went off. We didn't know how to defend him. I don't know why, but respect to them. And you guys, I just want to say something. You guys are overreacting for one game. We're still third in the Western Conference, third in the league. Instead, fourth in the league because the Sixers.
The Sixers have a better record.
I don't
Hey,
actually know. They
don't
have one less
sleep
win,
on the
one less
Sixers.
loss. One less win, one less loss. Or no, we're better. We have one more win, same losses. So sorry, we're the third best team in the league so far, and I don't know why you guys are overreacting for one loss. We're two of some of our most important starters. I know that the Celtics are missing Brown and Smart as well.
Smart.
But I know I just think this Clippers team with their starters is just a completely different team than they are without them. And I think that if we want a playoff run, we need everybody to be healthy because that's what's going to make us good. And I don't know why you guys overreact over one game. So, yeah.
Parting thoughts. Paul George is probably the most. I'm going to get shit on for this. I think he's the most valuable player on the Clippers and Lakers in 4.